join.
It has to join. So do you just have your phone open on a separate thing?
Yeah, I have my tablet, so it's not the greatest, but I'm trying to like not get it in our view as well.
I see. Yeah, so I am on it.
There you are.
Wow, it's like causing a loop.
Oh, you can hear it?
To join.
Yeah, you have to mute yours.
Oh, well, maybe I'll just exit out. That's going to be too much. It's too much technology for me.
Yeah, trust me. So yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. I'm going to be crocheting as we're talking.
See, I cannot, and that's why my projects take forever. I found your account after watching the video of you with like the crochet beard. And I just found that hilarious, and that was like an instant follow for me. That was hilarious. I don't think I've ever seen something so funny.
And that's an old beard. That's my husband, Yukon Cornelius. And so that's why it's like so big on me.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
When my 13-year-old was little, we all went as different characters from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
And you made them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They're still around.
That's great.
And so people love to say they hate acrylic, but it holds up. I mean, it stands the test of time.
That's true. See, I have yet to make anything in acrylic.
Oh.
Yeah. I want to. I actually just got a partner with Hobby.
Oh, nice.
And you should do it. They are accepting applicants right now. And it's like a friends campaign. And they send you yarn and you just create something with it.
And you just do stuff with it. Yeah, I've seen Jonah Hands is a Hobby ambassador. And I just absolutely love him. He's a child crocheter.
Okay.
And he is just like a crochet prodigy, and I've been following him since he was really, really little.
That's awesome.
And, you know, I'm kind of ambivalent about children on social media. My own children are not on social media, and they're not allowed on it. But there's something about, like, the joy that he brings to all of his crochet. I just really love it. And I don't feel like he's exploited.
Right. Well, it's his... I think that, like, the crochet community has... I mean, they're a lot nicer and more accepting versus the rest of the communities that he could have gotten into. So
yeah, because I've been around crochet communities. I started crocheting when I was 8. And we just determined, we had to ask Alexa that I'm 41 now.
Oh, okay.
So
you forgot. I do that all the time.
Yeah. Well, I can't do the math. Like, after a while, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Right. Well, I'm 32. I just turned, I'm turning 33 in January, so.
You're all doing the same thing. It's just a quick march to death, and your bones ache a little bit more, but everybody's doing the same thing. You get up, you take care of the people that you love, you try to find some time for refreshing your own soul, and then you die. That's it.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. And you got to find the things that bring you joy in between, right?
That's exactly right, yeah.
So I tried my hardest, like, not to look at your account, because I've only looked at a couple of things, and I saw a couple of videos. I was like, this girl is awesome. Did you take a look at my account at all? I know I told you not to.
Yeah, you told me not to, so I did it.
Okay, good. I have a video of me hanging upside down on my kid's tightrope. And that kind of got me noticed by the crochet community, because I was like, this is getting me, I guess I was just showing my personality. It's hard to show your personality on a screen, right? And yeah, so I found your account and I was like, this girl reminds me of like the same vibes that I give off. And that's why I was like, oh, let's do like a meetup. So I want to know, kind of like, you started when you were 8, but like what got you into it, and what are you doing now? Like, what's your main things that you crochet?
So my aunt is the one who taught me, and then quickly I surpassed her, because she was just strictly single and double crochet, like, scarves, which is what you did in the 80s, you know?
Right.
We didn't have all the patterns, there was no internet, and
YouTube,
so people, there was a limited amount of things. Everything was grandma crochet, granny squares. There was a certain way that people crocheted. It wasn't what it is now.
Right.
And I've just never put it down. I went through a stretch, I want to say during COVID, and I had just had my second keeper baby. And for those who are watching on live stream, I explained I have a 13-year-old, I have a 4-year-old, and then I was a gestational surrogate twice in between. And that second baby matched with the pandemic. I just lost my Crochet. And so there was a long time I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And then I picked up social media first, which then got me back into crochet.
There you go. I feel like everybody got into crochet during COVID.
Yeah, it's something I've been doing since I was a very young person. And so and I didn't stop until the pandemic was really where I had a lot to change all at once. And so that's when I started. And so since we have not seen each other's social media, one of my long-term things that I've been working on is a crochet starry night.
Okay.
And so it's an impressionist painting done in yarn.
Oh, no, I did see it, and I saw that your name, and I scrolled right past it.
Yes!
I did.
So I started that because I just saw it in my Instagram memories in 2021. And so I was like, okay, so this was a pandemic project. And then after a while, I was just too much in my own head. And so that's when I gave up crochet for a little while, up until last summer, which is the longest stretch I've ever gone in my adult life, or in my life period. So I guess it's 1 or 2 years without crocheting at all.
Wow.
And so you picked it up during the pandemic?
No, I actually started in November of last year. And I had a rough start to why I started crocheting. My ex-best friend actually crocheted, and long story short, I picked it up off of YouTube, and then I purchased a pattern from, was it Yarntastic Charlie? No, Crochet Me Zaddy. And I hated reading patterns. I tried to get picked for a pattern test. So I started my account November, and then I started just posting everything I was making, but I hated reading patterns. Reading patterns. So I just started making stuff. My kids, again, with the 4 of them, they were like, Mommy, can you make me this? Can you make me that? And it's funny, I just found this little thing, it was here on the floor. And this was one of my first things that my kids made. It's missing an eye, but it had an interchangeable shell. And
that's exactly what I'm working on.
No way. That's so funny. Yeah. And it's absolutely atrocious. Couldn't get any more terrible.
I love them.
Yeah.
Them.
Yeah. It was supposed to be Squirtle. It's a turtle, whatever. And I made it around Valentine's Day. And then I just started, I got obsessed with it. I needed a break from something, and crochet just kind of got my mind off of everything.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I started doing it. And then I've tried everything under the sun. I have that problem where you say to yourself, how hard could that be? And you try it. And I've literally tried everything. But yeah, crocheting, it's a great, all my crochet projects are here. I've yet to sell a single thing. I've given things to family and friends, but I don't know. I want to do a market. I don't have the time to crochet, and I can't sit there like you are and do it. I have to think in my head. Again, I'm new, right? And I'm slow.
And so you have 4 children, and you still have time to do this.
Well, yeah, I run a company.
Under 6. And you run a company, you say?
I run a cleaning company, yeah. So I feel because I did that, I thrive in chaos. So it's, I always do better when I have more than I can handle, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
So that's what you're working on right now? Is it a pattern?
No, of course not. I don't follow patterns.
No, but are you making the pattern?
Am I making a pattern? No, I'm even worse at making patterns. I'll do it occasionally because people ask. So
yeah.
I, as part of my normal kit, I have my hooks. I have my hooks, my scissors, my sewing needles, and I always have measuring tape on me, and I decided that my measuring tape needed to be crochet. So it's a turtle.
That's genius.
Also a measuring tape. And so then I decided, and I'll put a video out about it, that it needed costumes. And so I've made a little watermelon.
That is so cute.
I've made a lime. And this is so like, how does this enhance the world, right? But it makes me happy.
It does. Well, that's what it's about, right?
That is what it's about, absolutely. And right now I'm making a dragon fruit.
That's so cute. You got to make some for Halloween.
Yeah. And so that's actually what inspired this, because I went to Joanne with my cousin, a young cousin who just picked up knitting, and so she wanted to go and look for yarn. And I'm like, what the F? All the Halloween stuff is out right now.
Already.
This is summer.
I know.
And so this is my ode to summer. And if you are in the crochet, like, if you're making stuff for market, if you have a business, if you create content, you should be making your Halloween stuff now. I refuse. Not going to do it. I'm in summer.
Right. No, that's how I feel. I'm just like, well, most of my inspiration comes from my kids, right? So it's like, Mommy, make this. I'm like, okay. Where does your inspiration come from?
Let's see. Where does my inspiration come from? So sometimes it's the kids or the husband. They're the ones who ask for the most difficult things that you could possibly imagine, because they're just going off of imagination most of the time. When I've done commissions in the past, when I've done sold in stores, you're going after what is trendy.
Right.
And when it's commissions, it's what people have seen that they bring to you. Your own family and your friends just come up with what's in their imagination. So that's where the Crochet Starry Night came from. Is a friend of mine was like, hey, can you do this? And I was like, no.
But you tried anyways.
And here I am, right? Yeah.
There you go.
It's ridiculous. And so I would say lately it's been a lot of like crappy cosplay for my sketches. What can I do really fast? Yeah. And then Tammy, the owner of Latizan in New Brunswick, Canada, sent me a bunch of plushie yarn, and I had never worked with plushie yarn before, and so it's been a lot of fun to take the colors that she gave me and just see what's singing to me. What do I think this is? And so I've made just a number of things that I think the yarn says it wants to be.
Right. Well, okay, so let me ask you this. You've been crocheting for so long. How big is your yarn stash? So here's my secret, is that it's not actually that large. Okay, so it's like mine. Like, that's my yarn. I've got a couple in the closet. That was my yarn haul that my husband promised me. Yeah, and so I make a lot of content because it's a running joke that everybody hoards yarn. I actually don't hoard yarn. Most of mine is donated. I did buy a big tub of yarn at Goodwill because my followers I did a video and like, look at all this yarn, and like, go back and get it. And so I did. Yeah. And it was $3, and it's like, I've given a bunch away. And, I use it in props in my sketches, but I don't really have a plan for it. Right. I got a bunch from, from Tammy at Latizan, like I said. Mm-hmm. And other than that, it's like 3 bins full. Oh, wow. Yeah. And it's just like one tower that's like this tall. And I'm sitting right now, and so I'm not standing. Exactly. That's funny. I had all of yours is just behind you. Well, I have some behind me, and I have some in the closet. And I also wanted to do like a little skit because my husband doesn't cut the grass. I've taken over that job. I put my earbuds in and I listened to a book. And I was going to run over a whole bunch of yarn, but I don't know what it is. It's like attached to me because yarn's expensive here in Canada. So yeah, but I'm going to do it eventually. And just tell them like, kind of do like an IKEA skit, right? Where, honey, we got to go, but like go to eat more yarn. I don't know. It's going to get so many views because people are just going to be like, what did you do? Yeah, no, exactly. So I can't believe you. So you don't write patterns.
No, I mean, I have in the past. I'm working on one right now for a bundt cake,
Okay.
which is, I guess, ironic, or maybe I'm making a niche where, because the last big pattern that I did was for a pumpkin, and then a pumpkin hat, and now it's a bundt cake. So maybe I have a thing in food, who knows? But and it's just because
Trending.
I posted a video with one, and somebody was like, "Oh my gosh, I used to work for Nothing But Cakes, and I'm gonna go have dinner with my former boss, and I've been looking for a crochet pattern, and there isn't one. Can you help?" And again, it's that word "help."
Yeah.
I feel like I am like one of the most low level superheroes. Like a yarn, like a really untalented, very like baseline yarn hero where I hear help, can you make this pattern? Like, okay, I'll do it just for you. Stranger on the internet, user 254613.
Right.
With no profile picture.
No, exactly.
Somehow I feel like an affinity to.
No, I hear you. So if you haven't seen my page, I've been like standing up for like other accounts. So I never got chose for pattern tests. So if you look on my page, I actually have a place for pattern testers and creators to like put their information so they can reach each other. And then even when I do my tester calls, I do a draw. So everybody has a chance.
That's awesome.
And I've learned social media over the past year and a half, purchased a whole bunch of courses to like try to figure it out. So I've gotten like 26,000 followers in 60 days.
Wow.
So I'm like learning.
Was that just like through one course that unlocked all the secrets, or?
No, I've been trial and error, like big time. And so I created my own course on how to teach other people for $20 instead of spending $1,000 like I did.
Right. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm helping. I don't know if you've heard of Crojo Mojo, Susan.
Maybe
you gotta find her
I
account.
Probably have to like see the account.
Right, and I've been like reaching out to people. People have been asking me questions, and then I'm doing things like people don't even know like basics of Instagram, and so I'm making videos for them. Like anytime I get a question, I make a video and post it out there so everybody can see it.
That's awesome.
And it's not like I've grown substantially. Like I've only been doing this since November.
Amazing, though. Right.
Yeah. And it's more like, and I'm trying to tell people like you want that slow grow. You don't want like a viral reel and get followers that aren't engaged, right? You want the engagement. You want people to actually care about what you're saying. And then I've had a reel that I got a lot of followers from talking about how people are like repurposing their patterns and selling it for $7. And how I feel like it's so wrong. You're literally ripping people off when it should be like an easy mod that you should just give away for free, right?
Right.
And so that got me a lot of followers because I want to teach people how to write patterns because I'm a visual learner, right? And for me, like this is the first time I've had like a break in God knows how long because the kids are constantly down my throat. Right.
Yeah.
And so where do your ideas come from? I saw your Olaf one just now, right before you came on, do you want to build a snowman?
Oh, I'm frozen.
Yeah.
Oh, that was not a pun. My computer was frozen.
Okay.
I was on TikTok and on my FYP, there was somebody who was, I guess, in a garden niche, I don't know, but he was singing, "Do You Want to Make a Snowman?" And really off key. And it was all about gardening, but it made me think about like all the winter and fall like crafts that were sitting in the back of my closet, just forgotten.
Right.
And so it just came to me like fully formed from the mouth of Zeus.
Well, it's awesome. And it's funny because I watched the whole thing. It's a longer video, right? And I watched the whole thing because you keep people engaged with all your videos, which I love. It's just, it's crazy to see how other people's minds work. And I keep telling people, I'm like, you got to put your face on the camera because Do I remember your name? No, but I remembered your name was Liz and I remembered your face. And those are the two things that I remembered. And my messages were gone because I just posted a giveaway and a tester call. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't find her. So I had to search in, because it disappears in your messages. So I actually had to search Liz and find you. And I was just like, it was just terrible. But I keep telling people, like, just show people who you are. And it's more relatable. Because if you're just, people just, if they see your profile, they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, I've seen some people finally post pictures of themselves. I was like, whoa, I thought that was an old lady, or whoa, I thought that was a young girl, and it's the opposite. So it's really nice to see people show face. And people are they're just too hard on themselves. Like,
oh, they're super hard on themselves, yeah. So
luckily
I don't have that type of ego. I have a lot of other types of ego, but that's not one of them.
Right,
so
right.
I get it, right? People want to protect their identity.
100%. Yeah.
It's hard to be vulnerable on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And vulnerability is one of my gifts of the spirit, I guess I would say.
No, for sure.
It's not something that I worry about. Things I do worry about, again, the mental health of my children. They may not be on social media.
Right.
And so even though I post constantly, you'll never see their faces. They are not allowed to have their own social media.
Right.
As long as they live in my house. I don't care if you live in my house, you're 30 years old, you don't get to have social media. It's not good for developing children. So that's one of the things I really care about. Another one would be identity. And so my account is not going to blow up the way yours is.
Well, it has. It has. You have a huge following.
I wouldn't say huge, but it's engaged, and that's what matters, right? Your views and your likes, your comments, those are all vanity metrics.
Right.
Can you get people to take the action that you want them to take? And often for me in my account, the action I want them to take is to go to this other person's account and buy money from, spend their money on these small businesses. And that's what really brings me happiness. I'm not really selling much. Like once a year, I might drop a pattern for sale. That's it. But for me, a lot of my platform is about uplifting other small businesses, and people might get tired of the sales pitch, even if it's not for me, even if it is for somebody else, and then they unfollow. That's perfectly fine. Goodbye.
Exactly, 100%.
What is meaningful for me is that when I do pick up, it's not even a partnership because it's not paid, but when I do a collaboration and I hear back from that other person, they're like, hey, I got a bunch of new sales, and this is generally a really busy, a really dead time for us. And so we can see the immediate uptick, and that helps, our small business stay afloat. That's what's really meaningful to me. Whether my number of followers goes up and down, I don't care. Right.
Well, and that's the thing. I just did that for 3 different creators. I shared their work. There's a girl named Jay. She just created the Falcor from the Neverending Story.
Yes.
And it's like, I was like, how did that not go viral? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's mind-boggling to me. I've
seen that pattern. I've seen a couple of people post that. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Too big for me to do with the kids, anyways.
There's the floor size one, and then there's the smaller size one too.
But it's still big. It's still big. Yeah.
I've made a dragon. It's here. Where is it? Because I had to remember how I said I had to retreat, so I'm in my kids' room, and so all of my amigurumi is on the floor. But let me find it.
Yeah, for sure.
I found it, and I found that bundt cake that I was talking about too.
There you go.
My stuff is made to be played with. It is made for little boys to be really rough on it. And so this is the dragon that I made.
That's so cool.
And I will never make another one. It was so difficult to get the gradient and because it's triple stranded.
Oh my gosh.
In order to get the gradient to work.
So you made the gradient.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
Out of scrap yarns or whatever I had. And then here's the bundt cake that I'm working on the pattern for.
That's cute.
But yeah, it's grueling.
Yeah.
Making patterns for me.
Yeah, for me, I just pick it up and I start crocheting. Like, I made an owl. You can see it right there, from Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah,
Hedwig, yeah. And I made that based off of the picture on my phone. I just started going at it. And I never
I'm so impressed considering you just started in November.
Yeah, well, I do what I enjoy, right? So it's been, like, I had the owl, I just did the dog. I'll grab them to show you up close if you haven't seen them. I just released another pattern today. These are my favorites, get the top shelf. But,
nice.
So here's my owl, and he stands up on his own.
Aww.
So he's leveled out. See, well, I'm not even on his desk.
It's like thick yarn, so it gets done quickly.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Like, this is a cheater yarn. You can't. Yeah. It is. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you don't have to have talent to make stuff out of this. It's all about the acrylic thin. Well, I know this is acrylic as well, but like, the worsted weight yarn is where you can see all the imperfections. And then I made this dog, but it was like a prototype because I knew I didn't have time to make 2 separate dogs. So I made him with this leg and then with this leg. So they're 2 different legs, but in the pattern, it gives you the option to make them. So all my testers chose between which leg. And then this is going to show you how I literally don't have any time. This is what I made here. And it was supposed to be a cat, but it's more like a cat mouse. It's very flat on the bottom. So this is completely flat. And so it was supposed to be like a prowling cat, but as you can tell, I didn't finish the other side.
Oh, well.
I didn't have time. And I was working on this for like 3 weeks, and it should have taken me a couple of hours, but I just didn't have a second since the kids got off school.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why I started my account. So I wasn't actually a follower of a lot of crochet accounts. Of any crochet accounts. It was not on any of my social media feed. Do you know Alton Brown from Good Eats, like Food Network back in the day?
No.
He's like one of the personalities, like Rachel Ray and Giada De Laurentiis.
Yeah.
Well, he had this cooking show, and the backstory is he was not a cook or a chef. He was into TV production, and he was looking around at all these cooking shows saying, these all suck. So then he went to culinary school so that he could start a show.
That's smart.
And so that's kind of like my channel. And the reason why I wasn't a follower of a lot of crochet accounts is that they were so perfect. And there's a place for that. It's very aesthetically pleasing. You know, the ASMR and like everything is well lit and it's beautiful and it just looks so flawless. And that's not my life at all. And so I couldn't relate. It wasn't something I was ever going to aspire to. And I thought maybe there's a role for content that is real and funny. Because at the time I started my account, I couldn't find anybody funny. It was kind of like what I was telling you about, like crochet in the 80s was granny squares and Afghans and scarves and hats. Crochet accounts about a year and a half ago was all very aesthetic. And so that's why I started creating content more than I have all this great crochet work that the world needs to see. Right,
but isn't that what, like for me, I'll get like an idea in my head and I run outside because the kids are inside screaming. I run outside, create a quick little video, even though it's terrible, and post it. And so
that's exactly it.
I was actually creating a video for someone I was going to talk to, and then I ended up going and I was doing my laundry and I created a video and I just posted it and I was like, so the algorithm, and then I go, I look like a bag of shite. And then I posted it to let people know, like, you don't have to be perfect, right? And it's like the stupidest ideas. Like I revealed my cat by dangling yarn. I was like, come here. Because that's what you do with cats, right? Like they like dangling yarn. And that's where my ideas come from. It's just like spur of the moment thing. Like, do you plan yours or yours spur of the moment?
Well, it depends, right? And so my Frozen parody required a lot of planning. So my friend Antonia is an opera singer. So I had this idea And then I messaged her, and she and I had done a collaboration of a spoof on a Western song, like a cowboy song.
Yeah. I'm excited to go through your page now, because I didn't want to.
Yeah, so instead of Streets of Laredo, it was Streets of Moreno.
Okay.
Or Moreno. And,
Moreno,
yeah, so we had collaborated before, and then I messaged her and like, would you like to do a parody that's of Frozen? Do you want to make a snowman? And she said, nothing would make me happier.
That's awesome. That's great.
And so she forced her husband to help her with the recording because they're both musicians, and her son is actually the one singing young Olaf.
Oh, that's cute. That's awesome.
So cute.
You guys actually
and they're so talented, that whole family is. And,
yeah.
And so that one took a lot of planning because we're working on the lyrics together,
right.
And
the
it
audio
has to be recorded and
right.
then spliced together. And then, of course, for the amount of effort that it took, it's kind of a flop in terms of views and shares and whatnot, but we had so much fun.
Right. Right. And that's, I feel like, what matters most. And like people who are genuine followers will notice that and they'll appreciate the hard work. Like I sat there, right? I just wanted to go through, like, just see like the screenshots, and then I saw Frozen and I clicked it and I was like, okay, this is great because my niece was obsessed with Frozen when it first came out, right? So
yeah. Well, my kid is right now too,
yeah.
So that's part of the inspiration. Like, in fact, that's what we're trying to get him. I was trying to get him to watch Frozen with my husband so that I could do this live.
Right.
But he as soon as I went up, he came up too.
Yeah, they're like little dogs. They follow you around the house.
It's true.
So Zoom's gonna cut us off soon. I did want to ask. So besides the turtle, what are your future projects that you got going on? What are you making?
Well, like I said, I've been working on that Starry Night since 2001, and my oldest son said, Mom, if you work on it 1 hour a day, you will be done. And so I've made some steady progress on that, and I was really highly motivated by his words, and so I think I'm going to do that this summer. I do want to finish Sad Olaf, the hat, and actually finish that up. But then, other than that, we'll just see what
excites you,
what excites me, what the yarn is saying. I need to make out of it.
No, exactly. I'm gonna do a couple aliens. My husband and I had a bet. He was like, if you go, I embellished a bit. I said, and people came at him. I made a bet and I said, if I get to 30,000 followers in 30 days, my husband will take me on a massive yarn haul, which he did. But they didn't have any yarn. And I said, he'll cook dinner and do all the laundry for a month. And people were like, he should be doing that already. And I was like, listen, he works and travels an hour and a half, 2 hours to and from work, Monday to Friday. He does what he can. Well, people just came at him like crazy.
That is insane, without knowing anything about your life.
Right. And then, needless to say, I did get some yarn, but it was like funky yarn, like 2 different colors, 3 different colors. So I thought it would be fun to make aliens. Because that's what my kids are into. They thought it would be cool. They're constantly... Sorry.
Did you get any of the glow-in-the-dark yarn?
No, I have not. So I don't even know if they sell it in Canada. You'd have to get it off of like Temu or something, or Amazon. We don't have a Joann's. We have a Michael's, and Michael sucks.
Well, you definitely need to check out that Canadian yarn small shop that I mentioned just over in New Brunswick, and she ships all over Canada and the U.S. And her yarn is like $4 a skein. It's very affordable.
That's great. Yeah, Michael's is a rip. That's for sure. Yeah. Well, it's they don't have very much selection, and if I go there for one specific thing, they never have it. And it's just like, I'll even check online and there's like 1 in stock, 2 in stock. I'm like, yeah, I have a chance. I go there and it's gone.
I have a chance.
Yeah. And then, so just to finish up, I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give to the new younger crocheters once they started their crocheting journey, or even on Instagram?
As a content creator or just as a crocheter?
Both. I would say exactly what we've been talking about. Don't be afraid to be yourself, or an exaggerated version of yourself.
Right. And don't let anything that people may comment, don't take any of it personally.
Right.
Luckily, the crochet community, as we've talked about, is very kind in general. But you have a viral video, you're going to get people in your comments that are not part of your niche, that are not part of the community that you've built, who know you. And that's when all of this starts.
The negative comments.
You just ignore it. The delete button is your friend. The block button is your friend. Yep. Or the reply with video is your friend.
Exactly.
Because then it becomes your content.
Right. No, I agree. And then, closing statement. What would you say is, or how has your life changed since you've gotten a substantial following on social media? Hey, you're diminishing me. I have less followers than you, okay?
No, not at all. I'm not talking about the follow.
Yeah.
It has not changed at all.
Okay.
My life is exactly the same.
And you just do it for fun.
Oh, absolutely. I don't have any goals. I'm not trying to do anything with
You do it for the enjoyment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so my life has not changed, other than I would say my family would say that there are times where they have to ask, are you shooting a video before they interrupt?
Yeah. Oh, no, I get that. Well, I'm running away the opposite direction. They're inside, I'm outside. They're outside, I'm inside. And
that's exactly it. I shot the one, I came up with the idea and I posted the one that I posted this evening in like less than no time. And it's like, okay, you're busy. I'm going to run over here and then get all of the footage and then edit it while we're talking about our day or whatnot. But your content has to fit around your life, not the other way around.
Exactly. No, I 100% agree. And that's why I do it. It's the content creation that I find is fun. The crochet is fun, obviously. I love it, but doing the I guess the funny skits in the background, and I'm enjoying teaching people. I always said I would be a teacher if they weren't kids, because I could barely handle my own 4, and I love my kids to death, but it's a lot. And so I'm glad that we met each other, because I feel like we have like the same values, and you have a lot more experience than I do, but it's still been nice to find an artist that does crazy things like I do.
Yeah, and I'm sure that we're inspiring other people to do the same, which is so great.
Great. Well, I'm going to let you go because this thing's going to kick us out. But nice to meet you, and we'll have to talk again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, talk soon. Bye.
Bye.